easily the most iconic ship operated by the Cardassian Union, seen initially in Star Trek The Next Generation before making numerous further appearances in following shows. The Galor class cruiser formed the backbone of the Cardassian fleet for much of the 24th century, continuing in this service beyond. Because the ship is seen so frequently, its portrayal varies wildly from episode to episode and show to show, with the power and technological level of the Union being in a constant state of flux as Star Trek wound its way through the late 24th century. The Gallor class, as a result, has its power level relative to other powers never conclusively nailed down. And that's where this video comes in. What I want to try and answer with my own thinking and reasoning is exactly how powerful the Gallor class truly is. But before we can nail down specifics, we have to establish some basic background. There exist three major variants to the Gallor class in canon, each having varying levels of firepower and capabilities relative to one another. Firstly, we have the initial series of Gallor class. You can tell these apart from later designs by its blue deflector/spiral wave disruptor mount, which is located under the command head of the ship. This was the initial design of the vessel and would have been in service for several years before we first see it, it being the variant which first saw service in the border wars between the Cardassian Union and the United Federation of Planets during the 2350s, and it would represent the first modern ship in the Union fleet. Following this, we have the Block II pattern. Now, these vessels are a major improvement over the initial series, and they can be told apart from them by their red deflector disruptor array. These ships began entering service in the 2360s, and are essentially part of a major upgrade program the Union did in the period after the end of the Border Wars, as the Cardassian Union's tech base improved. And finally, we have the third major Gallor variant. These ships look visually identical to the second series ships for the most part, with the same red deflectors, but they have been enhanced with technology supplied by the Dominion to significantly boost their combat performance across the board. So if you're watching Deep Space Nine's later seasons set just before or during the Dominion War, and you spot a Gallor class, it is very likely to be one of the third series ships. Each of the three series had the same armament number and in the same places, though power output and efficiency of these mounts increased with each new generation. Also keep in mind that within each broad series there were several variants and subclasses. So now that we've established the general progression to the Gallor class, let's take a look at what the Union was trying to match when they built them. The Gallor class would be developed in the 2340s. Now at this time the Union was a rapidly developing power, though one still severely limited in terms of its tech base relative to the other powers of its region, as well as being limited in what resources that it had available. Because of this, Gallor was never meant to compete with the best of the best. Cardassia just could not do that, but they could build something equal to the workhorse classes that other powers had in service. Simply put, don't build to match what the enemy can build today, because they don't have a lot of them. Build to match what they built 1 or 2 decades ago, will have in large numbers already in service, and will be in service for some time. The thing that you are statistically most likely to come against. Any guesses what ship Starfleet had in service at the time that fit the bill? One ship which had been in production for a long time, was available in large numbers everywhere, and was also reasonably powerful without being over the top in terms of what the Union could build. Any class? That's right, it's the Excelsior class, which I believe the Cardassians built their own Gallor to match. I think that it makes quite a lot of sense, as well the Excelsior would have still been fairly capable in the 2340s, 50s, and beyond. It was decades old by this point, and thus behind the present curve. In other words, it was the perfect benchmark. I think this idea is also borne out in the shows. During the Next Generation, the Gallor is often portrayed as little match for a modern Starfleet vessel. We see this in the episode The Wounded, where a lone Nebula-class cruiser from Starfleet goes on a rampage against Cardassian targets. A rampage which local Cardassian forces prove ill-equipped to deal with, suggesting that the Union is not playing on the same tech level as the Federation. But this episode isn't proof either that Cardassia is a total pushover, and poses little actual threat. Several characters mention fighting Union vessels, and they don't give off this, there were a few of them and we dealt with them. No, they're serious business. Furthermore, in Deep Space Nine, we see Galors repeatedly engaging the ships of the Maquis, and being able to easily deal with them in a straight-up fight. To me, this implies that the Gallor is relatively powerful, though it's overmatched by what a major power has to offer. During the course of its appearances, the Gallor is improved gradually, as the Union gains the ability to do so, allowing the vessel to keep fighting even in the midst of the largest battles of the Dominion War. Again, implying that the ship, while obviously just looking at it from a size perspective and other things, is not a match for a Galaxy or a D'Deridex, it's still a formidable foe and should be taken seriously. So that's just a little bit of theory crafting of mine for how the Gallor stacks up. Let me know your thoughts on the subject, if you agree with how I rank the Gallor, if you disagree, all that kind of thing. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe future ships for the channel to review in any franchise that you can think of. I'm pretty much willing to cover it. I like ships. So, I mean, yeah, definitely feel free to do that. Yeah, if you follow the links below, you will find the channel's Patreon page, where there is there's the original artwork that I used for this video, as well as other videos. There's all kinds of ships out there that you can find and use if you want to. So give that a go. And I think that's all I have to say about this. So enjoy the rest of your Monday or whatever day you're watching this.